and welcome to Galley Stories, stories of the Bering Sea and beyond, hosted by Mark Kaler. My name is Penka Jane, podcast deckhand and longtime listener. We'd thank you to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Here's today's catch.
Hey guys, today's broadcast is going to have a lot of language in it. Can't help it. We invited the military guys to join us, and those guys cannot keep their mouths shut.
Nope.
My brother Chad.
Hi, how are you?
The founder and godfather of Reforged, which you're going to hear a lot about on this broadcast. You're going to hear some crossing of the maritime ministry and the military. It's going to happen. If you're not comfortable with that, leave now. See you next episode. But Chad, why don't you tell them a little bit about Reforged?
So Reforged is a nonprofit geared towards veteran and first responder peer support for those suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of times we feel alone, which is why I think we have a high number of suicides within our community.
22
a day. And so this is our small way of trying to reduce those numbers. So a bunch of us banded together and realized that by hitting some hot steel, you can let out a lot of aggression. And by associating with people who are like-minded and have been through similar experiences, you can find comfort and a place of solace.
So when someone donates, because this whole podcast, we're going to try to raise money for an anvil. And you've got a company that donates a forge for every anvil.
Yeah, Diamondback Ironworks. For every anvil we get, they'll donate us a new forge. And what that translates to is additional personnel who can come through the program. We found that the larger group of veterans and first responders we have come through the program, the more open and honest the discussion is, and a better chance that people will find somebody that they actually bond with, that they're willing to call if they're feeling suicidal.
So Diamondback Ironworks.
Diamondback Ironworks, yeah, it's pretty amazing what they're doing for us.
Appreciate them. Chad, I love you.
I love you
appreciate you. All right, guys, here comes your episode.
Hey guys, welcome back to another installment of Galley Stories, stories of the Bering Sea and beyond. Today we're going to really stretch that beyond portion just a little bit, so bear with me. You're going to hear some a little bit of military talk, a little bit of bonding. Today we're going to try something new with 3 guests. We have not done that in the past. The first one I'll introduce, and he'll introduce the next 2 as they are part of his crew. So Captain Sean Dwyer is rejoining us again today. Episode 11, if you want to go back and listen to him. You want to catch up on more of his family history, go back to 44 with his mom. Sean, how are you today?
I'm great, Mark. Thanks for having me back. I'm really excited to be here with some special guests of ours, and I'd like to introduce a part of the crew of the Brenna A. Some of you listeners may know I'm on the Deadliest Catch, along with some other yahoos, but there's a lot that you don't see that the cameras catch, and today I want to talk about a couple of guys that are pretty special to us. We've got Brandon Ferris, who is a current deckhand on the Brenna A, and Jake Tawney, who is the wheelhouse producer of the Brenna A. Cool. And some of you may be thinking, well, he's a wheelhouse producer, how is he crew? Well, you guys don't know that when we go out to sea, we have 2 cameramen with us, and they are a very crucial part of our crew. I mean, we go out with 9 people on board, and 2 out of the 9 work for the production company, but they also become a part of our family on the boat. And I'd like to go ahead and introduce Jake Tawney. Jake, how you doing today?
Hey, buddy. Good. It actually, when you introduced me as part of the crew, what I realized in my head is if shit actually hits the fan and we have to be part of the emergency response part of the boat, we all play that kind of role. Right. We're all in that same situation. It's stressful and fun and a nightmare and a beautiful thing, but yeah. When it comes down to it, if you guys ever needed us as part of the response crew to an actual situation, we have to protect ourselves, protect the boat, protect you guys too. So
yeah, people don't think about that. You know, they ask, well, where's the camera crew? Where do they sleep? Are they with you the whole time? Well, duh, we're 200 miles offshore. Where do you think they go? They don't just vaporize overnight and come back 6 hours later. They're here. They're family. They eat with us.
Yeah, listen, Scotty.
Yeah, a lot of shows that we do, I mean, you're embedded with a a storyline or whatever, but we get to go home to a hotel at the end of the night.
There's no hotels in the middle of Bering Sea.
Unfortunately, we don't get to skip our way to a hotel at the end of the night.
No,
so
and Jake, you had the pleasure of introducing me to one of your best friends and a good family member of yours, Brandon Ferris. And Brandon is one of the most recent additions to the Brenna A crew, and I'm super stoked to have him. How you doing this afternoon, Brandon?
Not too shitty.
That's Brandon for you, everybody. I'll talk about the connection here. Jake, you and I started working together indirectly about 4 years ago when I started with Deadliest Catch, and directly you have been on the Brenna A for the last it's been
about a year.
Been about a year, for season 15 of Deadliest Catch, which is now airing. And in that span, Jake and I got to know each other. An important part of Jake's life is the military, and the fact that he lost his brother. For me, I've always been familiar with the military. I grew up with a grandfather that served in the Air Force in World War II, and some uncles that were in the Navy and the Coast Guard, and I've never been a stranger to it, but it's never been something that I've fully comprehended until now, really. And Jake, you and I started working. We instantly got along. We made some good TV. But besides that, you also shared your passion, which is, I think, really just your family values in taking care of what's around you. And with the loss of your brother, you guys are really just a strong family group. And I got to know you through that. And in that, when I needed another deckhand, your number one recommendation was none other than the irreplaceable
Brandon Ferris.
Brandon Ferris.
And I pushed it hard, and because it meant so much to me and my family that we take care of a guy that's been a part of our lives forever, that was in the Marine Corps with my brother. What's that?
Jake's got his wristband on right now, and
oh yeah,
it's for Sergeant Ian Tawney.
Yeah,
Jake's younger brother, one of Brandon's good friends, and Brandon's got one on too. KIA Afghanistan 10/16/2016.
And you actually gave us the the opportunity to have a new guy on where you weren't. It was a guy. Brandon has never been a fisherman, but he's been to sea. He's been to war.
Yeah. Well, to make a long story short, I needed a deckhand, and Jake and I, being captain and wheelhouse producer, spend a lot of time together, and we had a lot of time to talk. And Brandon, I don't know if you fully know the whole story about how Jake kind of pitched you to me.
I don't. So this is good.
But
probably very obnoxiously at first, but
Jake was like, "Man, I got this guy. If you need someone, if you ever need," and this was before I actually needed someone. Jake told me, "If you ever need someone, I got a guy who wants to go to Alaska, and he just wants an opportunity. He doesn't want anything other than an opportunity."
Right.
And for me, that means a lot, because with being on TV and with being on Deadliest Catch, there's a lot of preconceived notions about our industry and, honestly, our pay scale and what we make and what we do out there. I mean, honestly, people think that we are able to drop the camera crew off every night. I mean, they honestly think that you and I don't spend every hour of every day together.
Every meal and every...
So when I hear that a guy just wants an opportunity and he just wants to go, I mean, that's the very first thing that I look for. Not a guy who wants to come up and make some quick cash. Not a guy that wants to come up and prove himself to the Bering Sea. I want a guy who just wants it for what it is, and that's what Jake pitched you as. But
well, let me stop you all there real quick.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're talking a lot about DC, and that's great. We're gonna continue to talk about DC. I just want a little disclaimer that it's not about DC. It's
No.
about the maritime industry. But I wanted to ask Brandon just real quick. Did you watch the show before you went up? Did
No.
you know what you were getting into?
Literally, my wife bought whatever last season was, so I guess 14 or something.
So you're like binge watching so you can get ready to get
No,
on
I
Netflix?
literally watched 6 episodes and then I stopped watching it with her. I was like, I don't need to see this shit because it looks. I was like, I already know this is gonna suck because one, I was so out of shape going in there. I lost 30 pounds just in, within the first month.
And you guys, again, another disclaimer: we're going to talk military tonight.
Yep.
We're all here together, and we'll explain why later. But we're all here together. Military is going to come up. Maybe some of those stories. I want to point out we're talking maritime, and that's what this podcast is. Sean is a captain. Jake, you don't think about it, but he's getting paid to be on the Bering Sea.
Yeah,
Jake's
my favorite saying is the longer you guys are out there, the more money I make, and the less money you guys make.
I know, but Jake is
you poor motherfucker.
Jake's hoping for the long season, the
Right.
slow crab.
to make
We all want to get home. We all want to get home and be with.
to make a long story
families.
short. To make a long story short, Jake and I met through the TV show, but we shared the connection that we had through the Bering Sea, which has infected all of us. And listeners of this podcast know that the ocean is just an infectious place. I mean, regardless of how you get there or why you end up there, it's what brings us all together. And that's what brought me and Brandon together, along with Jake, and really opened my mind up to just really the rest of this whole story that I had no idea existed, which is, I don't want to call it the community, the culture. It's just what being a veteran really means, because I mean, I'm a fisherman in the Bering Sea, and I live in a rugged place, but it's pretty isolated, and sometimes you lose sight of what the bigger picture of a lot of things are. And getting to know Jake and Brandon specifically has opened my mind to a world that I had no idea the depth and the scope of, and really just how compelling and compassionate all the people are in this world. And I think that that being with you guys and getting to know Brandon, this hardworking, driven, you said you were out of shape, 30 pounds, right? I remember being up in the wheelhouse, right?
Let's talk about that.
I'm up in the wheelhouse, and we're setting the stack. We're cod fishing, which is not on TV. And
Thank fucking God. Jesus.
So he's paying his dues right away.
Brandon's paying his dues. I mean,
He's
we're
spewing
like
his dues for sure. He's spewing his dues.
He's spewing his dues. We're like, hey man, this is how it's gonna go. We're gonna go out there and go cod fishing, and then we'll get to the crab. And I love cod fishing because it's a proving ground. I mean, it's a last Derby style fishery in the Bering Sea that we can get our hands on. And we take Brandon out there, and you were in a different world.
Oh yeah.
Derby style again. Just
It's
for
no
our
joke.
listeners, you run. There's
It's a
certain
sprint.
amount, and you run as fast as you can.
I've been to
There's
Iraq
no
twice.
sleep.
I got a Purple Heart. I've been deployed a few
Actually,
times.
don't
Okay,
you have a
so
couple?
this is but this is up there. Like
I'm like,
the
tough,
work and
man.
shit was I probably wouldn't have made it unless I went through what I did in the military. Like mentally, this shit was fucking brutal.
and
Like,
that's what I saw,
It was
man.
hard.
I mean, we take Brandon out there, and I'm like, all right, this greenhorn wants it, but I hear that a lot. But what's that really mean? And
Right.
I didn't know what that meant for you, but I knew as soon as I saw you on pot number 5, puking through the web of the pot,
on top.
Just hanging bait and
no, just disconnecting the crane.
Yeah. Boop. We were dropping pots off. We didn't do bait.
We were.
Well, wait.
You didn't hang bait on that one. You were.
This was my first time just doing anything.
We're
except
talking-
open a pot.
we
I was
had-
just learning how to unhook the
2
fucking hook.
loads of gear. This is gear load number 1, and Brandon's job is to jump up on the pot, disconnect the crane, and then jump back down and disconnect the door, open the door. And 5 pots in, he's puking through the web, and I'm like, wow, I can't see the launcher at this point because we got a whole stack of gear on, and so I'm looking on my little surveillance camera, and I'm like, he's spending some extra time up there, but whatever. I'm not off beat, I don't know. I'm just pushing the button. I look for a distance. I look to see that the pot's ready. The pot's ready. Cool. Beep, beep, beep. I don't even know until after the whole first day. They're like, "Did you hear Brandon puking?" I'm like,
It was bad.
I had no idea.
"No, I had no idea."
I was ready to go, I think, on the saga at that point. I was texting you, Sean, and asking you, like, hey, how's Ferris doing? just want to check in, like make sure he's doing okay. Because
this
I
is-
put him forward for a job. I want to
you
make sure he's
pitched
doing
him.
the fucking job. I pitched him very hard.
You pitched him, and you pitched him on the pretense that this guy is a vet. He is tough as fucking nails,
Yes.
and he wants it.
He
And for
wants
me, it was like, well, I'm new to kind of the veteran culture, community, whatever. I
Right.
don't even know what to call it, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
And
It's called service.
I'm new to the service world,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I'll give this guy a shot.
Yeah.
5 pots in, I'm like, well, we're
So
texting.
you text me back and you were like, yeah, no, he's doing a great job. He's very driven. He's throwing up like mid pot. he's doing
like-
a great job, but
Oh,
he is absolutely regurgitating everything out of his stomach.
He's
that we feed him.
mid-stride puking,
Yeah.
but never lost a beat. And I was just like, damn.
Can I ask this? So when you first got on the boat, Ferris, you were having a problem like with drinking water was a hard time for you. Was it
Everything was
crazy?
coming up.
So having been to war and been on boats for deployments and stuff, it was way different because the boats that you were on for deployments are
Oh, they're huge. It's complete.
huge boats. You don't
opposite.
feel a lot of
It's a city.
it's
Well,
a
you don't
city.
feel the rocking and shit. Like I
You
don't
don't
think
feel the rocking.
I don't think I was seasick. Like out of shape, and then I was sick. So like I was literally just fluid out of my ass too. So if I drink anything, I'm either throwing up or shitting fluid. Like when I would shit, it's like a fucking water fountain. That's what it sounded like. I couldn't even eat dinner. I would just try to hydrate.
that
And
audio.
for the first
Everybody's done that.
first 4 or 5 days, I would when we were done working, I just went straight to the rack
Yeah.
or shower. Like I
You didn't even
couldn't
eat.
eat. I would just try to like hold water down and not throw it up and just lay in the bed, and then I'm fucking just cramping up everywhere like uncontrollably. I had to like gimp my way into the galley and get fucking mustard and pickle juice. It's like one of the first conversations
Yes.
I really had with people. They're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just like, fucking dying. I was like, "Fuck you."
Sucking
I'm
down
sorry.
mustard.
Well, so
Like I was so unsocial for like the first week. Like they all hated me. I'm sure. Like fucking asshole, quiet, doesn't talk to anybody. I was like, no, I'm just dying, and
yeah,
getting over
it
this.
hurts.
It's like fuck. I felt like I was coming off heroin or something. Never done heroin, but Jesus Christ,
But
I felt like I was like,
it was, yeah.
coming off drugs or something. I was like,
So
dying.
let me ask you this: so when you were first on the boat, what was your first impressions of coming from the Marine Corps to
Maybe give
civilian
us-
life to boat life?
Give us a
'Cause
little,
boat
like-
life is fucking crazy.
Give us just a smidge. We'll get into this later. Give us just a smidge in a background of your service history, just so when we're comparing
Yes,
this
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
we
that's
kind
a good idea.
just give little spark notes on your service history.
All right, 2 Purple Hearts, Marine Corps Infantry,
2 tours,
2 tours to Iraq, flew to Ramadi. Like I've had some shitty times. Okay, painful.
Went right into 18. Like
Yeah.
high school graduation.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm not a greenhorn at fucking like 22 or 23. Like even Nick at 27. Like, yeah, you little baby, Jesus. Like,
Which brings up an interesting
Jesus.
point: joining a boat at 30. How old are you now?
3.
33. So 33 is a hell of an age to join the fucking deck crew.
Hell of an age to be a greenhorn.
He's
And
a fucking Marine, you guys.
honestly, I had
For
no
sure,
idea.
but-
I mean, from me as the captain's perspective, I'm like, I look at it as if it's on paper, right? Age 33, history, veteran, 2 Purple Hearts, badass, right? I'm like,
right.
well, that's got to be worth something. Let's give this a shot.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's
It's got to mean something somewhere,
So,
right?
I can't deny that.
Let's
man.
go back just a minute and go to that call when after this was all set up and you got the call to go to Alaska. What were your thoughts? What was your perspective on
Honestly?
going to Alaska? Yeah.
Oh, straight up. Like this is honestly, it's like one of the when I got the text from Jake. Like I
You
was.
didn't even hear from Captain Sean?
No.
Well,
Like,
okay,
at first,
So
can I give the backstory
a
real
little
quick?
introduction.
So I was in Seattle filming with Sean, buying a new boat, and he was looking for a new guy, and he remembered that I was pushing hard for him. Like, if you ever need a guy that's going to just put his heart into
which
it.
I do hear a lot, but Jake had some levity to his response, to his
Right,
request.
and I wouldn't put forth anybody that wouldn't
No.
actually make it.
He says that.
But
now.
well, but that's the thing when you recommend somebody for a fishing vessel, you never know if
Hey,
they're
I
gonna
had,
make it or not.
Speaking on what you are, I had told Sean this actually before he left. Like, I don't know anybody I would fucking vouch for
Right.
myself at home.
No, it's hard
to come because I don't
You don't
trust them
want
to
to.
make it.
I
Like,
mean, no one-
no.
Being a
Fuck
fisherman
that.
is legit the hardest thing that I've really been a part of.
One of the best things Sean said, like, he's said it more than once, like, when you're out there, like, fishing out there, that is one of, like, that's the fucking chasing the American dream right there.
Yeah.
So, like, when I got the text and, like, I found out I was going, I thought of it like a career opportunity. I was like, fuck, like, me, I'm not going to be able to do that from Dallas, Oregon.
It
My
is a
history,
career
my
opportunity.
family history. I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment with my fucking family of 5 right now. So,
Well,
like,
when
it
now-
couldn't have been the worst. It was just a fucking blessing. Like, this was right before Christmas. They'd text me. I talked to him, and then I don't hear shit for, like, fucking a week. And I'm texting
Yeah.
him, like, so...
When
my wife, even at one point, she was like, I think you got stood up, babe. And I was like, fuck you. I was like,
Good for Sid.
don't be negative. I was like, fuck.
You're jumping ahead. Go back to the.
So when Sean and I were filming for Deadliest Catch in Seattle, and I mentioned to him, he's like, I actually do need a guy. So Sean and I sat in his truck.
I think we were in your rental.
We were in my
van.
rental truck. We were.
Rental
Yeah,
van.
My rental van. It was a very classy van.
Yeah.
So we called you up, Brandon, and I hadn't talked to you about it for, I think, maybe almost a year, 6 months to a year.
Since I first stayed
It
at
was
your
something
parents'.
that you told me that you were interested in, but I've been pitching you for a while, and I finally found. Maybe Sean can speak to this, but there's always someone that's ready to jump in on the crew.
Yeah. Everybody
And
wants a piece. But
Everyone wants a piece,
And they have more experience.
well,
and they have more experience.
That's what I was
and you
thinking.
had
And
no
I know that's what my
experience.
wife was thinking, too. I was like, God. but she's
So
realistic.
when I was pitching you to Sean, he was interested at first, almost exclusively because you were ready to do whatever you needed to do to change your life. And I think that's a very important thing because you were having a hard time. You wanted a fucking clear goal. I think that we found you a clear goal when we got you onto the boat, and you could actually follow through with it. And I think all those small pieces added up to you actually getting onto the boat.
Yeah. Totally.
Right?
Because, I mean, I saw a guy who was just... I mean, when we talked, I mean, Brandon, no offense, but you're not much for words.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're not a good talker or whatever.
But when
You're
we-
not a great talker.
When we talked, I mean, I don't know, I just had this sense that what you said when you were like, I will do anything.
I was straight honest. Like,
I got that. I mean, I got that. And, you know, I mean, for you as someone who has served and someone who's been through some shit, when I noticed that you were like, hey, man, I want it. I was like, this motherfucker has seen more than I could ever imagine. And he says something, like, I got to trust that he wants it. And
yeah.
all I could do was give you the opportunity, and it was yours to take or leave. And I was,
Right.
like, seriously, on pot number 5, when I'm watching on my surveillance camera, you puke through the web, and I'm texting Jake. I'm like,
He's doing good, but...
but the thing is, we're not going slow.
Yeah,
This dude is feeling the pain,
right.
but he ain't quitting. I mean, that stands for you just as a character, you just you as what you have been through. And the more that I get to know you and your history and just really what shaped you to be that guy who, you know, you just said you hadn't talked for a year about this job, and
Yeah.
you got the call and you're like, done, sign me up,
Yeah.
all in, full cards.
So,
I mean,
so let's go there.
I'm saying what I'm getting at is how do you get there? I mean, you're a 2-time Purple Heart recipient. You are no joke, a certified fucking
War badass.
War badass. Yeah.
badass. And
Wait, what are we?
Well, we were talking about earlier about we're going to talk about war. We're going to talk about
That's-
military, all that stuff.
That's gonna happen.
That's-
I want to first hear about his first experience on the boat. You got the call.
that's where I was like, fuck, man, this guy's no joke. I mean,
Going from Sean and I talking in the rental van that I was filming with Sean, and just giving you the call. How did that transition with you and your family, where you were going from this might be a thing, maybe it's cool, we don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not that religious. Like, I believe in God. I try to, whatever, have faith. Well, I got down, dude, and I fucking swear to God on my kid's life, I fucking prayed. I was like, God, please. I know all the dumb shit I've done. I was like, I even said this. I swear to God, I was like, this is after Sydney had told me, I think you got stood up, babe. And I was like, fucking bitch. I was like, all right. So I'm like, fuck.
You see Sydney, he's just telling us.
I love you.
Sydney, we're going to cut that out of the podcast.
She knows this.
You know.
No, we don't edit, so it's going to happen.
Yo, she knows you, motherfucker. She knows you.
She knows.
She
And I was
knows
like,
you.
I told her this too, and I was like, I got down and I fucking prayed because I was like, I need this. I just want a job. Like, I don't mind working. I like labor, and I prefer labor, to be honest. And I was just got down. I was like, God, please, whoever those fuckers are that he asked before me, tell them to fuck off. And
Right.
They have too much money. And
Because
fuck
when
it.
we
I was
talked
like,
to you, I'm going to jump in. When we talked to you before, Sean was at the point too. He'd been talking to other people.
well, I
weren't
knew
sure.
that.
We weren't
I have
sure.
no experience.
But
I don't care about that. It's like,
What I didn't tell you,
did.
Ferris, was that he was pretty sure he was going to go with you. but he has a business. It's a fucking very important business, and it's a very he has to be as dialed in as he possibly can.
It's hard.
So he wanted to make sure that he was making the right choice
Exactly.
with you, and I think eventually he realized.
Well, and I mean, where we're all sitting today, I mean, I know I did. Like,
Yes.
Let's not forget about why we're here talking
Right.
about this.
Right.
Is, you know, I mean, as fishermen, everybody who's been on your podcast has a story or two to tell, right? I mean, and you wouldn't if you didn't think that it was entertaining or maybe gave you an edge to the next guy who has a story to tell,
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Well, we're
For
fishermen.
Sure. Yeah, for
We're
sure.
fishermen.
I was bigger.
Our fish is always an inch bigger than the
Yeah,
next
right.
guy's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm catching last year's fish. I know exactly where they go.
But what I'm getting at is that that there really is something here to the connection between commercial fishing and military life. I mean, the
Right.
service life. And Brandon, you are a perfect example of just really what kind of shaping a person takes that goes through the experiences that you have experienced, or maybe someone that hasn't even seen half the shit that you have. You've seen a lot, my friend, but
He literally told me that when he got on your boat, this is a private conversation we had, but
They were about to air.
They were about to air.
They were to air a podcast. No big deal.
Was.
yeah,
No
it's
big
all
deal.
open
Whatever.
now. He told me that when he got on there, it felt like that camaraderie was there. The
Well,
same kind
that's
of...
it.
That was one of the
Group.
things that Sean and I talked
I
about.
felt like the new boot coming in, like fresh out of boot camp. I was like, oh, so it was kind of exciting, you know. I was like, expecting to get shit on and fucking,
Right.
you know, Zach is exactly what I was expecting. but
You also knew the
Jesus.
other side of it too, though. I mean, granted, you were the greenhorn coming in, but you had also already been the new boot.
right.
You know, you knew
Right.
that there was life after being the greenhorn.
You know what expansion after being the boot.
I've had a greenhorn
Where
under me, you know,
you-
like
right.
I've had boots under me, fire
Right.
team guys.
You
So-
know that
okay.
after you've been torn down and you're the boot, you're the greenhorn, that there's a leadership role in the future. Like you see that process
That's what helped
expanding
me.
into
That's
the
what helped me
future.
adapt to it. Like you know, like I'm glad I didn't come in my 20s. Even after I got out of the military, if I'd have came in my mid 20s before I had kids or something, I probably wouldn't have the same work ethic that I do now as a dad and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
yeah, no, for sure.
Or what I want to do with the money I make, like, or even think of it as a job, like a career, like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is you're one of my best friends in the world. You had a struggle. We grew up in a small ass fucking town in Oregon. You didn't have a lot of options. So this opportunity for you was a very big deal.
yeah,
A
it's
very
huge.
fucking big deal.
This is the best job I've had, you know, like since
Yeah.
the military. Only job I've liked, and like it sucks and it's painful, but I like it. Like it's sick, and I
Right.
enjoy it. Like there's times out there I'm like sitting there
Please hurt me.
while
Daddy.
we're in between strings, waiting for the next string, and I would be sitting there. And I was like,
Get
I
out
was
of
like, this
here,
fucking sucks. And I was like, but
may I have
you brought yourself here, asshole. You better remember that. And I was like,
Yes.
all right, at least
Let's dive into this relationship
Yeah,
just
man.
real quick
Yeah.
between Tawney and Ferris. Your brother.
So my
Was
little
best friends.
my little brother was Brandon Ferris's best friend growing up. We used to play soccer together. We all knew that Ferris had a rough family life, and my family has always wanted to take care of this guy because we love him. He's fucking one of the best dudes I ever met in my life. So when my little brother was killed in Afghanistan in 2010, Ferris has always been the biggest support to my parents while dealing with his own shit that he has to deal with being at war, and has been the most supportive fucking guy ever to my dad. And my dad has a hard time with losing my little brother. And it's very well reciprocated, where my dad let him live at their house, and
with all my kids, my wife,
with all his kids and his wife, and
Really?
it's
we
been
rented up there upstairs.
it's like a pound,
Dog pound.
dog pound.
You have no idea. There's a lot of cats.
But I could not be more thankful to have a friend in my life that has helped my family out like Ferris has, while dealing with the shit that he has as a veteran. When we said earlier we're going to talk about military, all this stuff, having Ferris in my life has been really helpful to my family. So when Sean gave Ferris the opportunity, that's the tie-in for Galley Stories. Like, how do we get here? How do we get where we are right now?
Yeah.
How the fuck do we all end up at sea?
It's just, that's what it is, man. When you're out there in the middle of nowhere and you feel that camaraderie, you feel that brotherhood that's out there that you and I felt as soon as you were like, this dude needs it, this guy wants it. I was like,
Oh,
done.
and you know what? Like, when I went and stayed at your parents' house, like, if I didn't have to go through that shitty situation where they had to take us in and help us out, you know, I mean, we paid them rent, but still, they helped us out. Like, and I loved it there. I loved going out there. I loved seeing your dad. Like, the property was good. I mean, the space we rented was bigger than our fucking house we moved out of. But, your dad. Oh, shit, I just lost my thought. Sorry.
No, it's good. I think what you're trying to get to is
Yeah, fill in his thoughts.
the
No.
fact.
So, hold on, I found it.
He's got it.
Just give
When
him a
I moved
second.
in there, like, I didn't even know the Deadly Sketch shit. Like, I didn't know any of this. So the connection from your dad to call you and tell you that I would even want to fucking contemplate doing it is when I watched him watching the show with your mom.
Dude, I forgot
So I was
about
like,
that.
I just went there and I started bullshitting with them, talking to your dad, and they're watching Deadliest Catch, and I was like, oh yeah, Jake's filming, blah, blah, blah. And then your dad was like, would you ever want to do that? I was like, if you got me the fuck out of here and it's an actual job that pays good,
He's
yeah.
like, I'll take a finger up the butt for $1.
No, I actually said something
Maybe
way
two.
worse than that. I said I would suck every dick on the boat to get on the boat. So yeah, it was way worse. But
Which
yeah, I
didn't
said
happen, BT does.
Really?
Did not happen.
that. Not on camera.
Not on camera.
Oh, sorry. But yeah. And then, like, I didn't even think anything of it when I told your dad that. But then, like, he had told me, oh yeah, I called Jake and he said he put a word in for you. Like you said, it was a year,
Yeah, man.
over a year before I even talked to you about it. Like, I didn't even know that shit was, you were up there. That was happening.
It is a hard industry, I would imagine, to get into.
It is.
All right,
You
so
can't unless you
get
have
in.
family.
I want to turn it for just a second.
Yeah.
Jake, different lifestyle for you. You've filmed many TV shows, forging shows. I mean, just all kinds of shows. Because we've been hanging out the last 3 days, and all I've heard is on this set or this set or this set or this set. And I realize this is a different kind of a set. And again, stories of the Bering Sea and beyond.
Right.
And you are making your money currently, or at least part of the time,
Most of the beyond part of it.
The beyond part.
Truly you're not, because you're still there. You're on the boat. You're risking the same. Your life is the same as theirs.
Hey, they're part of the crew, but they're outnumbered. There's only 2 of them. So
I know,
it's
right?
easier for us to shit on them.
If shit got really weird,
probably-
we'd be at a massive disadvantage.
Easy, that's
for
not
sure.
where I'm going here. Let me control this here for a second here, guys.
Yeah.
So how was it for you the first time you stepped on the boat, expecting to be this guy to deliver this product, but yet I want the fishing side of it. You're on a boat, you got on there, how did you feel?
So, as a person that's done a ton of TV, and there's almost like a very loose format that we do to every show that we do. There's beginning, middle, end of stories. It's all very storytelling kind of thing. But when you step onto a boat that's going out to sea, you never know what the fuck is going to happen. You're at the will and whim of fishing, weather.
The guy driving?
The guy driving the boat. Is the guy gonna fucking put you on crab? It's like, are you going to be done by February or done by April. Like, you never know what the actual story is going to like end up to be. And that's why I love this show more than a lot of shows, is because it's one of the most real reality TV shows that you're ever going to do.
Yeah, I was going.
You can't fake a lot of fucking...
I was going for more about your personal feelings about being stuck on that boat. How you felt about it. Were you scared at all?
Fuck, dude. This guy is number one. Like, hey, Sean, I'm just curious. When was the last time you repacked the life raft? Are you kidding me? This guy is the number one driving source.
Okay, that is true. You know what? He asked. I remember you came out. Okay, did you do your life suit test yet?
He's like,
none of this is true.
He's like, hey, so
Oh, shit.
theoretically, if I don't know, randomly,
So you're just on fire right now.
Yeah.
All right. You're just on fire right now. Are we cool? Or
what do you
should we-
have to find your position? Do you have? I'm like, dude, I know Celestial. I've got a Garmin InReach. Like, I got
You
we're shit.
fucks.
And he's like,
I'm so
oh,
down
cool.
with-
Yeah, no, we're good. Yeah, no, I get it.
I am just a nervous Twittering.
Everybody's talking over my question.
Yes.
Your first experience going out. On
My
a boat
first
in the
experience
Bering
was
Sea.
with the Cornelia Marie. Out to see Willie Manchester. Was not even on the boat yet. I know he's a big guy on the podcast. We had Travis Laughlin as the engineer. It was my very first time ever being out to sea, ever being on a...
That's what I want to hear about.
I get seasick for like literally 24 hours, like during the steam out. So when I did like Wicked Tuna, you get seasick and then you come back home and you get used to be on land. You go back out and you're seasick again. Catch is fun because you actually get to be involved in the life, the daily life. So even when things go bad, you get to watch these people that are working through some of the scariest situations ever, keeping cool heads or not keeping cool heads about it, but just figuring out how the fuck are we going to figure this out? We are an island right now. We have nothing to do. And this is the first time I've ever had to do that kind of show. I've done a lot of fucking TV shows. A lot of TV shows. So as a new guy, Too Deadly as Catch, even when something went bad, seeing the calm and cool, collected way that people deal with things, emergencies at sea, was a very new experience to me. You know, it's scary. It's fucking scary. There was also very annoying things that happened. Like, you wake up in the middle of the air, you have to sprawl like a cat, meow, grab the fucking walls because you're about to fucking fly into another wall. Like
Big
especially
wave.
Yeah, big wave. Here we go. So when you're sleeping third floor of a fucking schooner, you're gonna feel that centrifugal force, and I'd never experienced that before ever. Luckily, my deck shooter Kelvon was fucking seasoned and knew exactly how to help me through leading him through stuff.
What was your scariest moment, though?
One of my scariest moments ever was when the saga caught on fire. Man, that was pretty fucking scary. You don't realize as much at sea. You think a lot about drowning. You think a lot about capsizing. If the boat goes upside down, have you mapped out your way to get out of that?
Clearly, Sean says you have that all figured out.
Dude, he's got it dialed.
I do. First time I step on a boat, I think about if this boat's upside down.
Checking the registration dates and
how the fuck do I get out of here if the ceiling is the floor? You know,
right?
It's just a reality thing. I have a daughter. I want to make it back to her. I have a beautiful fiance. I want to make it back to her.
Back to your scariest time.
So a boat on fire though is one of the craziest things ever. When you see smoke coming out of the engine room through the floorboards, I was on the boat. I've been on several boats that have been potential fires. I've never been on a boat that was sinking at all. I've been on several boats that have been fires, and that was very fucking scary. Because as a camera guy, you have to film. You feel very invincible behind the glass, behind the fucking LCD.
Right until the fucking fire's melting the rubber off your shoes.
But it's a lot like wartime photographers. They feel invincible behind that glass
Until they're shot.
Speaking of getting shot, though,
Brandon, resident expert.
Yeah.
a couple times at least.
Brandon, what's the differences between being out at sea on a crab fishing boat and being in a fire team in the Marine Corps?
Well, there's not. Well, let's go with similarities.
Okay.
Like, I gotta trust the guys around me for one, because the guys operating the crane and all that. That's a dangerous job. Like, it's dangerous out there. Like, if you mess up, you can fuck up the person next to you, like, easily. Like, there's tedious shit you got to pay attention to. So, like, when you're low on sleep and mentally you're just drained, like, you got to try to stay awake. Like, over in Iraq, you're drained, but you're out patrolling around. You're still trying to be attentive and detailed, which you have to be out there fishing. Like, all the little things add up. Like, some things go faster, but it's dangerous. Like, it was wild. Like, okay, I had compared it at one point, like, getting in a firefight in Iraq ranks at the top. Like, I was, like,
Yeah. This was something
adrenaline wise,
he told me
crazy. Like, it's up there. But then out here, it was like the same high. Like, I was up, like, I was like flying for a while. Like, this is awesome. Like, I love the adrenaline. I love the storm out there. This is after the puking and the soreness and all that. But
Once you got settled into the actual process.
I remember
I enjoyed the job.
The first rough day, we were stacking gear, I think, right? Were we putting pots on the boat?
No,
Yeah.
we were dropping them.
No, the first day you came up to me and said that this shit is intense.
Oh,
It was like we were stacking gear up at the end of cod season, and this is January, 16th, 17th, and we've been fishing we set gear on the 31st. You come up to me and I'm like, "Hey, Brandon, how's it going out there? What do you think?" And he's like, "Dude, up top, firefight, half a notch below." This shit.
Yeah,
I
right?
fucking love it. And I'm
that
like,
was before crab, though.
this is
Because crab even got fucking crazier. Like,
this was
I
just
don't know.
cod fishing, just stacking
Yeah.
up some pots. and for me it was like, whoa, really? Like, huh? Because
Right.
I've never even made the comparison, and for me to see Brandon's perspective, where he was looking at it more from really just the mindset perspective than like the conditions perspective. I mean, just the mindset you have to have when you're out there and it's rough out and there's big waves that are just going to swipe you off that stack in a heartbeat versus, that insurgent who's coming to get you and, who knows what.
That's why I'm saying, like, younger kids coming in as greenhorns that aren't, like, military, like, I can see why they quit and shit and don't like it. Because it's like, it takes a certain beast to be out there and, like, I've been through some hard shit, and I can do hard jobs, and that was the hardest shit I've done, and I liked it. But
Do you think that your training in the military
100%.
prepared you in a way?
100% mentally,
Yeah.
like physically, I mean, anybody can get into shape and get back into it, right? But mentally out there, like, it's cold, you're lacking sleep, and for me, I was in pain, dude. Like, my elbow's down, just numb. My left hand, my middle finger to my thumb, I still can't feel.
Yeah, what do you
Doing
got?
forging out here, I can burn
What you
it.
got left
and-
over there?
Those are crab hands.
Yeah, those are what we call
Serious,
crab hands. And
grip.
When I started, you got the claw. Just shut up, get back to work.
Right,
and then
right.
I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't have anything compared to.
I've had carpal tunnel and shit before, working on a production line. Like, my hands have went numb before. The shit came back eventually. So when it first happened, I'm like, oh yeah, it'll go away. And obviously fucking not, but it was different. Like, I'm talking 24 hours at one point, like, barely eating. Like, you got to force yourself to eat in between strings. Like, you have to, like, take care of yourself out there.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you just kill yourself. And that's why I can see why people quit, for sure. Because if you don't hydrate or force yourself to eat, like, you have to. Like, first, I wasn't. That's why I was sick. Like, I wouldn't change in between some strings, and I'd make myself colder and miserable.
Yeah.
But I was
Let's
so
talk
sore.
about that. Changing between strings. How important is that?
Oh, way important. And I didn't do that until like 2 weeks in. Like, I was just too fat, sore, and disgusting. Like, I'm like, no, I don't want to know. Like, we only got 30 minutes. I was like, fuck you guys. You're jumping out of your shit. It takes me 30 minutes to get out of my stuff when I first started. Like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, you learned.
And then I got cold.
In and out.
I'm like, damn it. So I was like, yeah, I have to go in there and fucking throw my shit in the dryer. Put on at least dry tops and shit.
I've always thought that like the healthiest I've ever been is when I've been working on deck on a crab boat, because like your body, what you're putting your body through, it gives it enough time, enough like just negative abuse to really tell you like what you're doing right. Oh, you think you can get away with eating that shit? Gotcha. You know,
Nice try.
nice
fucker.
try. It's like, man, and it's, you know, the little things, just like even just changing your sweatshirt or your t-shirt. It's just, that's the kind of shit that you don't even think about. But the seasoned guys around you are like, dude, change your t-shirt. And you're like, whatever, man. A little sweat don't hurt. And then you go back out there.
And it gets cold.
Did that translate from the military though? They want you to change your socks and make sure you're ready for
Yeah, I mean,
That, like,
and-
okay, that helped me. Like, the living situation wise, I'm very clean. I don't mind cleaning. Like, keeping my area clean, but like being out there on deck is completely different. Like, while you're out there working, you're in shitty conditions, like you're fucking freezing, and then all of a sudden that string's over. You're done. You clean up the deck. You go inside, and it's like back to slow change. It's just fucking weird. Like, okay, you're back to your little area.
Yeah.
Right. So you had those moments where you were kind of like decompressing from being on deck, and you had some slowdown time.
Yeah, and like Willie and Zach don't exactly talk to you, and Ben or Nick. So unless you pick at someone and try to get advice, or like, you know, they don't just come telling you. So and I'm not the person to go look for it. Okay?
Is that kind of similar to the military? I mean, is there someone yelling at you?
It's my fault. Well, yes, there's always someone
in the
up
military.
in your ass. Yeah, like there's always a Zach.
Do you?
Not as much as Zach. Zach, like,
He keeps going to
takes
Zach.
it.
Like,
No,
Zach was his
because I have
asshole.
a Zach in the military.
We all know who Zach Larson is. He's a huge asshole. We all love him very much, but he's a nightmare.
He's a good, like, he knows all his shit. But like, what I learned from him is like, he's just a miserable freaking person when it comes like to not working.
Did you find some of that kind of crossover too? Where, like,
He
you had a staff sergeant at some point.
Yes,
that
I told
teach
Zach
you-
that. I told Zach, I was like, Yankowski. I was like, you're a fucking Yankowski, and I just wanted to put his teeth through the back of his.
You hear that, Yankowski?
Boom.
Well, it's kind of like you just gotta love the suffer, like, and Zach is just one of those guys who just like he loves the suffer, but he loves watching other people suffer.
Oh,
yeah.
he likes to pass it on.
He also
And
is very knowledgeable and
he-
can teach people.
He can teach, you know, like, and you know, I think that
He gets it from his dad.
for me, like, just watching you go through the break-in process with the crew that I had that was current, you know, Willie and Zach, that were my senior guys that really knew what they're doing.
Right.
Willie is the soft teacher. Willie is the heart and soul, and Zach is the tough, you know, principal coming down on you saying, I don't care about your feelings. This is how it has to be done.
Yeah.
And I mean, what aspects of your military training did that bring you back? I mean, did you have anyone that, you know, when you were in the service that was like kind of nice to you?
No, we had a lot of them. Like, so Zach, I've seen a million of Zachs. Like, I
What
have
about-
them in my platoon.
What about the nice guys? Any of them?
There's nice guys.
Yeah.
I was actually a nice guy. Not even kidding. Like,
They tell you what to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, well, you know. Okay, I like Zach. Like, you would think I don't because I always
No,
talk shit, right? People think I don't, but I do. Because,
I think the part of you respects that training because of your military background, that you respect that hard ass fucking someone that's just gonna like shove your face in the dirt.
right, this is the thing. That,
You're used to that.
This is what, like, Zach, he loves to rub people's face in the dirt, right?
Right.
But there's also times where you gotta fucking not shit on, like, Nick. Like, I can take it. Zach can shit on me all day and I'm just like, fucking turd, whatever. But Nick, I'm seeing over there. And every time, like, Zach's just fucking laying into him. He doesn't see it. It's like actually cutting in to fucking Nick's little heart.
Yeah.
Right.
Like he wants to cry. I'm like, it's okay, dude.
Yeah. These are other deckhands on the boat.
tell you-
Zach,
When I was injured and talked to you that one day,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, attitude does reflect leadership.
I mean,
and he is supposed to be the fucking leader out there. He doesn't have to be a dickhead the whole time. You know, and he wasn't after a while. You know, he was getting like fucking.
Yeah.
And it was motivating sometimes. He would do shit, and I would tell him, I'm like, dude, that's fucking motivating shit right there.
It's a tough perspective to get, because you see a lot of guys that come in and out, and they want the quick cash, the quick grab, and they leave,
Right.
and you've spent some time and invested, and Zach is one of the individuals that has seen. Zach's the engineer of the Brenna A. He's no dummy. He's a licensed captain. He's a licensed engineer. He's put his
Very
time
smart, very hardworking.
He's educated. I mean,
not great with people necessarily.
He taught me a lot of shit. Like,
but what he has seen, I mean, when you say not great with people, what he has seen is he's just seen a lot of people
turn around,
and it's tough. I mean, it's tough in our industry because you get a lot of turnaround.
Yeah.
And when you got someone, I saw this in you, Brandon, right away. When you got someone that has the heart, you don't want to snuff that flame. That's going to burn no matter how much dry, wet wood you put on top of that thing. No matter how much shit you pile on top of that fire is going to burn.
Yeah.
And you don't want to fuck that fire up, And when you see, like...
But you also want to make sure that person is going to
you don't want to give
learn the things they need to learn.
There's no golden ticket.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, you don't just be like, you know what? You really care about this. You're going to be the next captain.
High five, bro.
There's none of
Let's
that
kiss.
either. But, there's just a fine line. And that's where Zach has become almost jaded in a sense that, I really do think that your training, your experience, you having seen the other side, you understanding his perspective from your time in the service, I mean, really lets you see the big picture because, I mean, there's those striking similarities where it's just all too familiar that punishment, that pain that you need to feel, you need to know the suffering to really grasp the whole concept.
Right.
And he's not going to let you forget that.
No, ever.
Ever.
Even at a meal or when you're going to bed, he's going to make sure, hey, life sucks for you, okay.
Actually, I'm going to bring something up that Chad said yesterday, my brother. Mm-hmm. Said leadership's hard.
Really hard.
It's a heavy burden. And to be really hard on people sucks. And he was trained pretty early, military, that if you're not hard on them, and they die, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys heard that. You were in their room.
Which I think is the biggest part of the crossover of people in leadership positions like Zach Larson or Willie Manchester.
Yeah.
They have different styles of leadership, but they know if
gotta
somebody
lead.
gets fucking hurt on your watch, it's because you did not train them hard enough. And Zach takes that to heart, I think.
He does.
He wants you to make you the hardest motherfucker in the world because he knows if something happens on his watch...
I feel
and
that.
you're not prepared.
I mean,
as a captain,
hold on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Sean, you feel that too?
I feel that. I mean, the hardest part, I mean, for the guys that are on deck alongside the guys they're trying to train, they, if nothing else, I always thought, for me, if nothing else, well, I've got a knife on my belt. And if that guy goes over the side or he gets caught in a piece of line that's going to rip him over the side, I can come out. Mm-hmm. I can stop him from dying. From the wheelhouse, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
All I have to do
Put
is
that fucker in neutral or reverse.
Scream over the hailer. What are you gonna do?
I just watched the worst thing happen that I could ever imagine. And when you think about that, and you really fully try to digest what it means, we. Thank God that we've got the Coast Guard. Thank God that we have our familiar fishing buddies that are out there next to us. Mm-hmm. But none of that matters in the 60 seconds it takes, the 10 seconds that it takes to lose one of your guys over the side. And that feeling of, for me, vulnerability, just like that desperation that I might be looking at my clock or looking at my computer and say, well, this pot needs to go right here, beep, and I'm not looking down, and that pot goes over the side, and maybe one of my guys,
somebody gets ripped over the side,
he goes with it.
Right. The Coast Guard's not going to help you.
That doesn't matter.
Those 60-minute things where the Coast Guard helps you when your boat's on fire.
Yeah.
Those small moments of leadership that you have to face where if you're not paying enough attention,
That's tough.
That's a 10-second thing.
That's tough.
Tops. 10
And
seconds tops.
You've got to react, and you have to. I mean, I'm not sure what your perspective was, Brandon, but I have definitely known guys that are like, well, you just like Zach because he's your engineer. Well, no, I like Zach.
Well, we all know you don't like Zach, so
I like Zach.
Zach, guys.
we all love Zach.
Hold on,
we're
let's
just
back it
fucking
up.
around.
Yeah,
Zach
we're
is-
just fucking around.
Zach is sharp as shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you why I like Zach. I thought of him like when I found out we were the same age. I was just like, what the fuck? Because he's got gray hair. I was like, I thought this motherfucker was at least 40. So I'm like, what? I was like, no way. So I've been talking to him. I was like, dude, we're the same fucking age. I was like,
You know why?
How long you been fishing and shit? You know, he finally told me like 14. Like, dude, so you basically been in the military for fucking 20 years already, asshole.
It's
Fucking
because-
dickhead. I was like, what
Right.
the fuck?
It's
Yeah.
because
Now I see where you are.
He goes there.
Yeah.
He goes to that situation. When you see the big picture and when you really fully
Hair
understand
goes
what's
gray,
going on,
yeah.
you go there.
Yeah.
You don't think about, well, it's not my fault. It's always your fault.
Sean, you're like 27. What are you, 20?
Yeah, I'm 27. Yeah.
27.
I mean, we just go there. And that's what I respect. And honestly, I had no idea that the guys in the military, the guys in the service really do feel that same instance of, we go there. And not because we do it because it's on a piece of paper and we should think about the worst case scenario. It's because the worst case scenario sees you on a fucking Tuesday
Yeah.
at 9 p.m.
Yeah, right.
on Discovery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it's real, man. It's not.
That's
it's,
a really valid look at that.
It's not a.
That's really good, yeah.
It's not. I've watched very few people die. I mean, Brandon, you. I don't even want to talk about that. You know more than I do. But what I've seen is enough to make me go there. And when I know a guy who can go there, who can think, and I know Zach's an asshole when he's treating a new guy.
Yeah.
But I know that's because he's taken him to the worst. And that's because he is thinking about the worst.
Yeah.
And what I really respected about Brandon and about the thought process that the service and being a veteran and really making it to the other side teaches you is we go there. I mean,
yeah.
that ain't a fucking dream.
Mm-hmm.
That's real life, dude. That's every day.
Okay, so let's talk about what brought us here today then. Sean, why don't you go ahead and explain it? What's up?
Mark and I have a lot of mutual friends. I've been in the fishing industry since birth. I'm a family-born guy.
Episode 11.
Mark, you have been in the industry for a while.
Slick shout out.
You
bro.
are
Well, that's his story.
you
wanna
are
go back to
extremely
I
well
gotcha.
connected in the industry, and what that did for me was it connected you and I, and it connected you and I on a level that when you felt the passion behind my reason for thinking about ALS, for thinking about the cure, when you said, hey, this is what happened. Mark said, hey, my brother has a cause. My brother is a veteran. He's an Army medic. He has seen some shit. He knows that veterans in our country need some help. And he said, hey, think about it. I didn't really know what that meant for me until Jake and I started working together, and I knew the story about Jake's brother, and then all of a sudden I hire Jake's brother's best friend, Brandon, who Brandon is like telling me the story of how he and Tawney, who is Jake's brother, because last name thing,
Right. Very military stuff.
very military.
Yeah.
He's telling me
High
about
school football, military.
He's telling
Yeah,
me
exactly.
about how they met. These guys grew up together and then they reconnected in the Marines. And these guys are the hardest of the hard. They're no joke. And I knew that, and I learned about that, and I really got a chance to see just really what that meant with seeing some examples in not just like, anybody can tell you a good story.
Right.
But when you see it with your own eyes, when you see that, look, this dude went through some shit, and look what he can do. This guy's puking through pot number 5. Because he says, I'll do anything.
But he has that training and that mentality where he's going to power the fuck through it. Dude.
And he means it.
And he means it.
And he means it.
Right.
Well, I was like, man, I gotta find out why he means it. And Mark tells me, dude, my brother has this cause, this thing, and it's called Reforged. We're wearing the shirts right now. It's Reforged. And what it is Mark's brother, who's a veteran, he's an Army medic who has seen some shit.
Master Sergeant.
Sergeant.
Combat medic. Like,
he sent us his service record, and I shit you not. It was 2 text messages.
Yeah.
It didn't fit on one message.
On one page. Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to brag on him because he won't.
He won't. But he's a badass. He has seen some shit. He knows some people, and he has this cause, and it's called Reforged. And what it is it's an opportunity for veterans to come in, and they have a chance to really work through some of the problems, to really work through some of those scenarios where Brandon was a veteran far before he was able to come work on my boat. The time that it took for Brandon to come to where he could work on my boat, I don't think that that's something to look past, right? I mean, he went through some stuff. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about PTSD. I'm talking about the effects of being in the service, in the military.
And the transition that it takes to go from that lifestyle to being just a normal person in society. We have it so easy, dude.
We have it so
easy.
Oh my God, I was just about to say that. We have it so easy.
Do you remember when we first talked? I
Yeah.
forgot I even said this. That I said I'd applied at fucking Costco.
Yeah.
Right? And I get 3 interviews, go through it right after I'm military, and then I don't get the job working in the food court to like empty the trash cans because I don't have transferable skills.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the hell? So when I finally, like when I was talking to you, I was like, look, I told you that. I told you the Costco thing, and I was like, this might be the only job where I have transferable skills.
Well, and what you
I
said
was like,
too,
through my military
and I think this is very
the
important. Being a fire team leader in the infantry does not translate very well to civilian life.
It doesn't. But you know what it does
Not
do?
infantry. It's like you're screwed. I can be a cop or a prison guard.
Yeah.
But you know what it does do is that it provides you, Brandon, and I'm learning that it takes massaging to really like work these skills forward.
Yes.
Is that it provides you the skills to really deal with the real shit, for you to really go there. You know, we're talking about Tales of the Bering Sea and beyond, and being able to go to those situations where the boat is burning, the ship is going down, and we're all going with it. And you know who has already been there in his mind and knows his plan is the guy who has been in the infantry, the guy who knows what it's like.
It is kind of crazy how well the skills that he has transition into being a fucking fisherman.
It does. It does. And
it's pretty wild because it's a scary job. It's a very hard job. It's very labor intensive.
I didn't grow up with a dad or any of that going to the military either. So like, I didn't know how to shoot guns until I went to the military. Like,
right.
Well, and for me as a fisherman, I'm addicted to fishing.
Right.
I love the community. I love the friends that I have in this industry. And honestly, it's most of my life is the guys that know what I'm doing and the guys that can connect with me on that level. And it's a weird thing. You know,
right.
when a guy comes to me and says, hey, I got this weird thing where I went to the military at 18 years old. You know what? I take an aptitude test and it says police officer or prison guard.
Right.
This guy is more than he is more than that.
Yeah.
And when it says that, and you know that, like, you know, for me, I'm kind of stuck in a niche environment too, to be able to relate to that and say, hey man, you know, like being a specialist in what you do, like for me, it's not getting shot at. It's not, you know, facing that real danger. It's catching crab, you know, in the Bering Sea.
It is funny how that translates though too, like those scary, dangerous jobs.
I love it. Like,
yes, I can't get enough of it.
But
I hated Iraq and I hated the whole fucking concept of like losing my buddies and shit. Going out there and actually doing that, like I fucking enjoyed it until I got hurt.
Yeah.
Like literally, I was like after, you know, COD and shit, and I got in shape and like back to my normal self. Like I loved the job. I loved the labor. I loved being out there. Like actually getting to know you guys. Like
not a fucking job interview. Slow it down.
Yeah.
No, that's what it was.
but
No, no, that's what actually like opened me up. Honestly, like going out there, like I actually talked to him a little bit about PTSD on camera. I've never done that shit before. Like I wouldn't have done that unless I was on the boat.
And
and that's what brought out the camaraderie shit. Like that made me talk to him. Otherwise, I would have told him to fuck off.
Brandon,
honestly,
I had no idea that you guys were talking, but I knew that all of a sudden you were feeling a little different angle. PTSD is no joke. I mean, it's a real thing.
It's very real.
It's so under the radar. People don't know about it.
People don't want to talk about it.
But
And
that's because we're all tough guys and we all want to not be soft. But it's a fucking thing, man.
it's a
fucking
thing. And Brandon, you're a tough guy. Two-time
obnoxiously so. Obnoxiously.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, two-time Purple Heart.
2 Purple Hearts.
And now you're a crab fisherman, badass. And for you,
hold on. That's another thing I wanted to say before I forget. This is the first time where I have a job where I can actually be proud of it going back home. Like, oh, what do you do? I'm a fucking fisherman on the Brenna A. Like, that feels good, dude. Like, I actually have a job.
Well, and that's because there are other circumstances in play. What it really means is that you are capable of putting the effort in, taking the time, going through the process of being reforged into something different that makes you what you are today. And that is what really has brought us here together today, is that PTSD and depression and stress is something that we all feel. I mean, you look at me, you look at Brandon, and you think, those are two different guys. This guy has seen more than I could ever imagine. We all have been through the hard time, but what makes us human, what really brings us together, is the ability to come to each other and be able to talk about it.
Right.
And say, hey man, check this shit out.
Yeah.
You'll never believe what I have
Hold
to
my
say.
beer. This is what my head is.
As fishermen talk about it like, how would you have done it, right?
Well,
Military guys, theirs is final.
well, they don't. What I'm learning, we fishermen lie a lot.
I just did one right now.
I've never.
We lie a lot to each other, but what I'm learning is that veterans lie a lot to themselves. And
Very
they
poignant,
say,
yeah.
dude.
That's true.
Very
They
poignant.
say,
So
hey,
true.
I'm fine. I haven't seen a goddamn.
Everything's okay with me.
We as fishermen, it's the deadliest catch, and it is horrendous, and we have lost brothers out there. The destination we will never forget. But it is nothing like what you guys have gone through.
23 suicides a day for veterans.
But-
23.
We can relate.
You can in
I
such
think
a way like this, like as a captain yourself.
Yeah.
I'll see it from your point of view. This is why I respect the shit out of you being the younger captain. Like you do have all of us under your belt while we're out there, even the camera guys. Like so, like your mom said, you compromised to go to school and shit because she'd feel safer that you knew how to take care of yourself out there from the boat sinking whenever it did. I've had a lot of like older and younger leaders, and he was good. Like he comes down, and that's I compared him to Zach at one point. You just doesn't come down with shit. Like he doesn't scare you away. Like sometimes a first sergeant has to do. Like your brother said he had to do for half of his career, like some of his guys, where he had to be a dick, otherwise it was his fault.
Right.
Some captains are like that. You weren't. Like what I liked when we first went crabbing, like you said, everybody else was up north doing all their own shit and like teaching me the screen, and you're like, I'm gonna come down here because you know what, I'm gonna check it out. Like I want to stay away from the back and do my own fucking thing. I was like, fuck yeah, that's fucking sick. I loved it. Didn't work out for us, but you know what? I still wasn't mad.
Didn't work out.
I didn't care. I was like, you know what? At least the motherfucker did that. That was fucking awesome. But that's what I like. I respect you as a leader and shit, and that's good. And I'm glad that you took a chance on me because if your young ass didn't, the other guys wouldn't know because that's.
Can I ask you one quick question, Sean?
Yeah.
Was it hard for you to give him a chance as far as you were looking for a greenhorn? You knew a couple guys. You knew a couple guys that had been fishing before. And when I told Ferris that hopefully that we can get you on the boat, we're not sure yet. He has to interview a couple other people. But what you told me, not to lead you into your answer, what you told me was I would rather teach somebody from the ground up that has their heart into it.
Yep.
Is that a pretty prominent captain thing that you guys have to?
What was my biggest struggle was, we're all, as humans, path of least resistance. If I got a guy who knows how to haul pots, I'm going to hire him.
It makes the most, as a business owner too, you have to do that.
Makes sense.
He already knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I didn't have that option, and it was like, well, I can take the guy who says, look, I will do some messed up stuff to have this job.
Right.
Versus I will be the guy who has this job.
Yeah.
Like, I'm taking the guy who's going to go there. For me, as soon as my options were like, you can have nobody or you can have a guy whose heart is in it, I'm taking the guy with the heart. No problem. Once I knew that, I was done. He's hired. I'm done. I didn't doubt myself. I didn't even think about it. And that was it. When you're talking about leadership, Brandon, I respect that, and I see your perspective. What really does it for me is just, I really judge, I guess I judge my ability to relax the ability of my crew. I mean, you're not going to just chill out if you have some guys that you don't trust.
Oh, by the way, one of the things, too, that made me like Sean as a captain more was during COD. He was fucking on deck with us, working the same shifts and shit.
Right. Yeah.
So he was driving the boat and on fucking deck. So
yeah,
I was like, that was awesome. That was
and
motivating
training
for me.
you at the same time.
Yeah, I love that, though. 18 and 6. I'll do my 18. 6 of my 18 is on deck.
Yeah.
So I do 12 in the wheelhouse, 6 on deck.
And that's motivating as shit.
And
it was awesome.
You know what? No one can lead unless you're in the front.
Right.
Yep.
I love it.
That's why I liked it. I was like, oh, that's fucking sick.
I have the option to plan my schedule. I said, you know what? I want both greenhorns on deck with me. Because we had 2 guys that were new. Brandon and another guy, Nick. I said, if anybody has to go through it, let me go through it too. Let me experience 2 new guys and 2 experienced guys. So it's me and Willie and Brandon and Nick. And we're out there. I love it. And
it gives you the opportunity to train your guys from
the ground up.
From the ground up.
Which,
especially with Willie, who is also a very good fucking leader. Willie Manchester's been on the podcast before.
Great teacher.
He's a
Willie,
great teacher.
Willie's an awesome teacher. Like, I'm not saying Zach's a bad teacher, but Willie's fucking like just the way he teaches little shortcuts and shit. Willie's good to go.
Yeah.
Dude is smart.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to hit with all these, points is just that, what really made my season, I had some guys out there that really trusted me, that believed in the process, that believed in the fact that you can go out there and you can prove to yourself and to your peers that you are worth something and that you are able to be a part of a team and to make something happen. And we see that on the fishing industry side, where we go out there as 5-6 guys and we make something happen. And you guys see that on the military side, where you go out there with a team of guys and you make some stuff happen. And being able to really connect on that level is what we want to pass on. It's not lost on one side or the other. I mean, it's something that we all respect. And what I have learned, a person of the ocean, a person of the fishing industry for the last 15, 20 years, I've learned that my passion, my mindset is not limited to just me and, the brothers of the ocean that I have. It's that you guys in the military, you guys that have served, know just as well as I do what it really takes.
Or lost someone.
Absolutely.
We're here in San Antonio. You guys probably understand that the recording is different than normal. We're not on the Gale. What brought us all together is we came down, kind of a building event.
Yeah.
I invited Sean down to make a knife to the reforged.org. My brother formed this group a while back to treat PTSD.
Yeah.
And Sean happened to have the producer on his boat.
I had a connection.
Who lost his brother in Afghanistan, who then got his deckhand, Brandon, his brother's best friend, a job on the boat. And it's, so we all thought we'd come down and spend the week together.
Yeah.
And try this thing out.
It's literally been one of the most amazing experiences of my fucking life, man.
Mark, thank you for stopping me, because it's not just those who have served or those who have done things that others do not do. It's those who have experienced what it means to be a part of that connection. Jake, you've been in the Bering Sea. You've been offshore with me. We've been in some fucked up situations. Yeah. But before that,
it sucked most of the time. But I still love being part of it with
now.
you. But yeah.
Before that, you experienced the loss of your brother, and the connection that you have, that feeling of family, that feeling of connection that it really takes to relate to one another on that personal level and really understand what it means, to connect to someone's grieving like that.
Right.
That's what brought us together.
Well, it's helped me be a good producer, just as on a very base level.
Yeah.
Understanding that other people have a lot of pain and being able to talk to people about that.
And then,
but the fact that you gave one of my family best friends in the world Brandon Ferris a chance to be on your boat.
It's amazing.
Into this,
right?
Which I think for you've done your own processing of pain and loss.
Yeah.
But I think that it's opened up your eyes to a whole new realm of people that are going through their own struggle.
Yeah.
And your support has been a very huge help.
It's amazing to me because I experienced the loss of my father. That allows me to open up to other people who have experienced loss. And,
Right.
you know, you've experienced loss in a way that I haven't. You know,
Right.
my dad wasn't shot in
Right.
Iraq,
Right.
or Afghanistan.
No goodbye. No.
Yeah, but you experienced that. And the connection that we had on that level brought us to the connection we have with Brandon, who Brandon's sitting right here next to us right now.
We should talk about him like he's not here, though, for sure.
And
For sure.
Third person.
Brandon has experienced that loss in a way that is different.
Even
And
you and I would never.
we would never know that
be able to
because
understand.
we don't feel that pain that he does, that someone in his position does. And then you and I, it's just the snowball effect that we get into the situation where now all of a sudden you and I, these two guys who are relatively unassuming in our
Right.
careers on the Bering Sea,
Yeah.
crack into this whole world of veterans and PTSD and what it really means
And
to
we're
have
finding out how important this whole thing is.
Isn't it amazing how life's connected like that?
Yeah, to really have suffered and really have felt that connection. And for me, so Reforged is Mark Kaler, the host of this podcast. His brother Chad, Army medic veteran, Bronze Star.
Yeah.
Recipient, total badass, seen a lot of hardcore stuff, started this program where a veteran can come and reforge a piece of steel that is important to him into a blade that he will carry with him, or a knife that he will use for the rest of his life, and feel a purpose attached to that piece of steel, and learn and feel the process that reforging a piece of steel that honestly,
A worthless piece of steel.
a worthless piece of steel that has been through hell and has come back as a beautiful product that he can now use as a successful and purposeful piece of material in his life. To learn that process, just this was going on, right? And I'm just some...
So Sean's been through the class for a couple days.
I'm just learning.
It's a very strong metaphor for looking at yourself and learning that even though you don't feel that you're okay, it's okay to feel broken, and you're going to be able to reclaim yourself, like we're reforging knives, or like we're reforging whatever.
And it feels like we're stretching the
connection?
the connection from
No.
the Mariner story, but we're not, because the same guys. We've all lost someone. We all think we lost someone. Well, some of us have seen it.
Yeah. You lose someone, you learn that connection, you learn that struggle, and you learn to move through it, to move past the point that is debilitating. We may never recover fully, and we'll never be the same people, but we are recreated and reforged into a different person. And that's where, there's really no difference as us, as fishermen on the Bering Sea that have lost people that are familiar to us, to the people in the service that have lost people that are familiar to them, to where we have a feeling, we have a connection that we have to move through. Honestly, that's why you got me and Jake and Ferris and Mark on the podcast today, is because we are all connected in a sense that we feel this connection of the ability to heal. We feel the connection that you can become reforged and reprocessed into a different person and feel a different connection with
Damn,
those
it's like you're
around
getting
you.
paid for this shit.
No, and I
Sounds
couldn't
so good.
no, Sean, that's
That's
perfect,
what it is,
dude. That's
man.
perfect. And I couldn't see the connection more clearly between people that have been out to sea, who have lost time with their families, who have lost friends out at sea, with the people that have been in the military. And
we have a guy that can really prove the connection. I mean, Brandon, you're a 2-time Purple Heart winner. You have the utmost respect from all of us in this room. You have also seen our side of the situation, and when you say y'all motherfuckers are sick, and so are we,
dude, sailors for sure.
when you say that you can relate to us and we can relate to you, that gives me the confidence in saying that I can somewhat relate.
No, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And when you say that, it gives me the confidence to say that, as fishermen, we should support those who are around us that are veterans, who have seen a similar scenario to us, where we go out, We don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know what the next minute brings. And we go out there and we see sometimes something we may never be able to explain to the next person.
Right.
And that person who is around us that might hear us talk some shit might never understand what we're actually saying.
Yeah.
But we say it.
The similarities are crazy. It's a
It's
lot of time
insane.
away from family, away from people you love, that you would rather be with your family, with your kids.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of travel away. There's a lot of risk involved with your lives and your lives of your friends and family. And Ferris, I couldn't be more honored that we got you on the boat and that you and I, two little small town Dallas, Oregon boys, actually get to hang out
Dallas,
together
Oregon.
out at sea, man.
Telling like Sean, same thing. Like the fact that I came on the boat, like you guys hooked me up with a chance. Like I don't plan on screwing that over. I was like, you saved my life and my family. Like you don't even know like that on that level. You don't know. Like it changed my life so much just from this little first trip. Mm-hmm. And then you're giving me an opportunity to keep going. That's why I want I'm not gonna fuck it up. That's why I was like, you hooked me up. You don't even know how much you did. I mean, you hooked me up, but like you changed my kids' lives and shit. Helped me out. Like how I said it fucking was like a therapy session on the boat. I'm not lying. Like it was. And then that hooked me up to come in here, and like that's just gonna help me out even more at home. I've talked to Chad so much, your brother. It's just been insane how since I've been on the boat to come in here, like
Right.
It's all connections.
since Christmas. I felt I've grown so much as a person, as a man myself, as a parent, as a dad. It's fucking crazy.
Well, you look
After you say
skinnier.
how much I've been through, no shit,
You haven't
right?
grown as much
But
as
like
you
you're
lost
saying,
weight, by the way.
How much I've been through and shit. Like I don't think of it like that, but like just that little time with you guys, like saved my fucking life almost, dude. You have no idea.
Yeah.
You're starting to
I love
process
my
shit
kids, my
that you
family,
should
but
have
at
for a
home
long
I was
time.
struggling mentally, like living in a fucking 2-bedroom apartment with the kids. I'm just sitting there like, I'm good with my wife, like getting healthy, but I'm not feeling healthy myself, dude. Like, I'm healthy with my family and my wife, right? Like, emotionally and shit, but we're in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
We're happy. The kids are happy. That's not the problem. I'm not happy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I want to fucking provide better for my fucking family.
Yeah.
The American dream, like you fucking say. And
Now you have
boom,
the opportunity
gave it to me.
to
Exactly. So I'm gonna be
grow.
loyal as shit to you. So like that's just how my mentality is.
Which-
we're not
That's
brown
why I
nosing
won't-
here.
No, that's why I worked my fucking
no.
ass
I
off
mean,
on the boat, dude.
I'm just trying to we're just here trying to explain this connection. It's a weird connection. If you were to
Super
say
weird.
veteran fisherman, what does that even mean? But when you think about it,
In a way, it
veterans
makes a lot of sense.
and fishermen,
To me, it did. Yeah.
It makes
Like,
a lot of
it's
sense.
it
nobody
makes
did. Like,
It's
I
the
thought it was all
crazy
right the whole time.
lifestyle, travel
And I'll
schedule.
tell you
and
that.
all
I was like, just trust me, I'll be fine. You're like, dude. I won't throw me off the boat. I was like, just calm down. It's all right.
It makes the
Please.
most sense.
God damn it.
Veterans and fishermen. I mean, tales of the Bering Sea and beyond.
That's how it was therapy to me, dude.
You cannot even think about, we've all been out there. We've all been staring at that horizon. You don't know how far away you are from land or the next boat. You can't see shit. But being able to look out there and think, well, I'm just going to work through this, I'm going to power through this and really respect the suffering and the pain that comes through that. I've never met someone who has really respected that process as much as you, Brandon, and as much as your training and your presence in the service and in the military has prepared you for really being able to fully grasp, and this is ignorant on my part, what I thought was exclusive to us as fishermen. It's like, man, there's this whole other community out there that can really relate to what we feel.
That's
and
so crazy. There's a whole other world of people out
It's
there
like-
that know exactly what the fuck.
hey,
you're
have
going
you ever been in a terrible place that you didn't like and you
Yeah,
wanted to
right.
be out of?
You guys
and you
have-
thought you could die at any moment?
Are you a fisherman or in the military? Because
You
It's
guys
like
have been
Willie saying,
surrounded
call
by
me
them.
big dog badass. And I'm like, aren't you the big dog badass? Because you're bigger than me and you're the motherfucking...
You guys have been surrounded by them for the last week or the
Yeah.
last 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, you come into Reforged,
Yeah.
and it's like a family. But before we shut this off, I want to say to Jake, everything in the forge gets a nameplate put on it, KIA, dedicated to him. We talked about it a little bit, and you thought that your brother needed to have
Ferris and I
the
both
anvil.
know my brother was the most hard-headed motherfucker in the world. He was just steadfast in
Doesn't-
how hard-headed he was.
Doesn't that sound familiar, fishing
I have
community?
no idea.
Yeah, right.
Don't you guys?
So,
What the hell are you talking about?
Can't you relate?
Hopefully this will be released, I think, in the next couple days. But
Yep.
we are, Sean and I are going to try to pitch to the community, the vet community, and the hopefully Deadliest Catch fan community, we're going to dedicate an anvil to my little brother, who was Ferris's
Ian?
best friend.
Ian Tawney.
And
Ian Tawney died.
obviously my brother.
Sergeant Ian Tawney.
Was it
Sergeant
8
Ian
to
Tawney.
16?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
On my mom's birthday. Funniest story ever. My mom, after my brother died on her birthday, she's like, he would die on my birthday, that little shit. Very, very Theda Tawney. But we're trying to dedicate a hammer or an anvil to Ian and raise awareness of the program. So
it's PTSD, guys. Sean.
So what it is, Mark and I have this connection through the fishing industry, and Mark explains to me that, hey, man, what you guys experience out at sea is nothing different than what my brother and the community around the veterans of the United States of America feel in PTSD is no different. That you guys feel this suffering, you feel this pain, you feel this aloneness, that you sometimes may not be able to relate. And Reforged is this program where a veteran can come in and make a piece of steel that represents him, that represents what he would like or her, and that they can forge into something they are proud of and learn through the process that, much like a piece of steel, we go through a hard time, we are tempered, we are tested, and then we are shaped and then heat treated into a much stronger, more effective version of ourselves. What we're asking for right now on this podcast is that you support us in supporting these veterans in the Reforged program. That's reforged.org, that supports veterans who are suffering with PTSD and need some support and need the community of a group of people who are willing to come in and teach them blacksmithing to create a blade that is respective and that they, as the veteran, are proud of, that represents them. And what we would like through our ask is that you help us raise enough money to fund another anvil. Because right now, this is a two anvil forge.
It's a pretty small group.
And we need
we're
another
stuck
one.
at 2 anvils, and we're hoping for another one.
And Ian Tawney, Sergeant Ian Tawney, who I feel like I missed out on the opportunity to meet.
Fuck, I wish you guys would get along. So you guys would give me a lot of shit for sure together. You two fuckers would gang up on me for sure.
That I, as a fisherman, as myself, the captain of a vessel in the Bering Sea, feel like I would have loved the opportunity to meet this person that I can connect to through my service on the Bering Sea.
I would have vouched for him.
You would have loved it, man.
And my connection to the service and to the military would love that you guys support, that we can raise the funds to purchase another anvil in the honor of Sergeant Ian Tawney. On behalf of Jake Tawney, who is here, my producer, my friend, my best buddy, who goes through that shit with me, who recommended one of my best deckhands, Brandon Ferris, who is also a veteran of the service, who has seen some shit, a 2-time Purple Heart recipient.
They don't give those out. I mean, it's not like it's McDonald's. Like, I'll take a Purple Heart.
You don't get fries with that, for sure.
That we can respect, as fishermen, we can respect our brothers in the military who have gone through some shit and who have seen and felt that connection that we think might be exclusive of us. There's more of them than there are us, and we need to support these guys.
I think everybody wants to serve or tries to serve or has the heart to serve. I think we take this pretty deep here tonight. So
sorry, gang.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We got into it, but it's important shit.
But again, it's all the Bering Sea and beyond.
Yeah.
It is.
Sometimes
really.
the beyond is more about our heart.
Well, the beyond brought us together. We
are four of us here together.
Seen this crossover.
It's about the feeling that we all feel out there.
We actually we're all at Reforged now. We're all in San Antonio, Texas right now. These guys have been hammering steel,
Absolutely.
forming it out, and feeling the bond, much like your first time on a boat. You don't know what you're getting into. They showed up, they put on their gloves, got hot, worked a bit.
Got some blisters. God, I thought I was tough.
Sean said, I got blisters on my blisters.
I thought I was tough. I made it all the way to the wheelhouse. I was like, yeah, I can still throw the hook.
Super tough guy.
Fuck me.
I had to hammer for a day and a half. My blisters have blisters right now.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And You know what? The forge is such a great metaphor to what not only us as fishermen, but the majority of veterans feel, in the sense that going into a forge imperfect as an object that doesn't
Define
fully
you.
define
Right.
the finished product, but that hot fire, that hammering, that filing, that grinding, all of those stresses really invoke on a person, brings out in he who is there to witness it, or she. God, it's amazing. Like, I mean,
It's a fucking beautiful thing to see. For
it
sure.
is beautiful. I mean, I'll be honest. As a fisherman, I was like, yeah. We do some tough shit. Whatever. No one ever knows what I'm talking about. Until I meet some veterans, and they're like, yeah. No one ever knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You know?
right? Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
these motherfuckers are
Well,
for real.
as a veteran coming into this program, this is the best
Closest.
thing that's ever happened to me, like mentally wise, since I've been out of the military. Going
Reforged?
to the VA. Yeah, reforged. Like, I've tried to talk to psychiatrists. I've tried to fucking get help before. And when you told me when you're close to leaving the boat, you know, getting out of Dutch and just going back, when you brought it up at first, I probably would have said no unless it was you, because I respect you and I felt that. I was like, you know what? I would, but I didn't know if it would come. And when you said it was going to happen, I was like, at first I was like, fuck this, I'm home. I was like, I can make an excuse. And then I was like, you know what, fuck this, go do it, dude. I was like, don't be a fucking idiot. Like, try to do it. I just went on a fucking boat, and I came out, and then when I came here, like, the first day, like, you know, I was into it, and like, I'm glad it was more than one day, because
Yeah.
after one day, I, you know, had the idea where I could try to make a change or like look for help after talking to like Chad and everything. And then the second day is like, I got reinforced on it, like fucking name, like
Right.
reforged.
You ain't leaving,
Yeah,
brother.
you got
They
double
reinforced
down
it,
on,
like-
son. You got double down
and it's just in a
on.
way to where it's not like overbearing. It's not like forcing me into like wanting to have to do it. Like, I wanted to do it myself. Like, I actually started talking.
You still
and
got
bringing
one
it
more
up,
day
you know?
left.
So it's
Imagine
crazy.
what we're going to be tomorrow.
It's
Yeah.
just good. Like, so you guys said, oh, I haven't been through a lot of shit. Like, so to all the veterans out there that are listening, like, that are in the same boat as me, where I've bottled all my shit up for so long. Like, don't do that anymore. Like, this is a good thing. Look it up. Like, check it out. Like, go get out there and look it out.
And not just this one.
No,
Okay,
anything.
not just reforged.
No, that's
but
what I'm saying.
any
Look, go.
avenue.
That's why I said. That's what I mean. Like, look out. Like, just fucking reach out. Like, be able to say yes. Like, okay. Like, give something a chance. Like, what I just did with Reforged. Like, anything that's around you, whatever, or try to come here, whatever. You got to just be open to it. Like,
Yeah.
I was a closed book, and that's it. But
What I see as a fisherman, you know, we're dependent. We're self-sufficient. You know, we don't like to ask for help. But
Right.
dude, there ain't no shame in being like,
I'm
What-
fucked, bud. I need some fucking help right
what
now.
would you guys do in this terrible situation? And
Right.
that, I mean, to me, the Reforge program, where you can come in, you can forge a piece of steel in 3 days to really represent yourself, and you can learn these thoughts that I'm having, these feelings that I'm having.
Learning that it's okay to feel feelings is a...
Learning that it's okay to have those feelings and say, what would I feel?
Right.
You know, like, that may not be my dream, but what am I feeling?
Right.
And say, oh man, it's okay. You know, it's okay
Yeah.
to say, hey, what do we do about this? And
Yeah.
the guy you ask might be like, I don't know, but I do know who does.
Yeah.
And we go talk to that guy or her, you know, and say, hey man, because I say this because Mark, you're host of this podcast, the Guy Stores podcast. He's too
Normally
humble.
I do, not
He
really
is
today.
he is too
Sorry,
humble.
We've been talking the entire time.
He's too humble to say that he brought us all together to talk about the value and the importance of
Yeah, he
fishermen and the connection between fishermen and veterans,
Yeah.
and really just what it means to feel that isolation, that dependence, that independence that brings us all together, and what it really means to bear that weight as a fisherman. You know, I'm a young guy, and I'm no
Two-time
stranger.
Purple Heart member.
Well, God, no, I'm no Purple Heart member, but I'm no stranger to say I don't know what I'm doing. And when I talk about the mental strength that it takes to fish in the Bering Sea and beyond, I'll tell you who I identify with the most is veterans, because these guys really know when I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm leading this team of guys into the unknown.
Their lives at risk. the pressure's on you if somebody gets hurt.
I might kill
You're
them.
like a fucking fire team leader, dude.
You might kill them.
I might kill them.
You in all reality, might kill somebody.
It's
man.
terrifying for me to say that.
Yeah.
And then I look at the guys who believe in me to lead them, and when one of them is a veteran and he says, hey, I've seen this before. When he says, we have been here before, dude, that is the most powerful thing that I could feel.
Right.
And I do not want the listeners of this podcast to forget that while we as fishermen might feel this independence, this isolation, this ability to feel above those who are around us, we are no different than those who serve our country and those who really respect the values that have brought us all here together today. You know, pay respect to that and really just feel
the consistency with brotherhood and family and
it's the
respect.
same thing.
It's the same fucking thing.
Feel that weight and say, hey, man.
Any American does. Anybody that bleeds like we do does.
I might be a leader.
You are a leader.
I might be.
I'm not sure. You might
I don't
be.
know.
You just may be.
You guys, we can let this go on for like 5 hours because we're going to keep drinking until it just goes and goes and goes. But the bottom line is every person is tied together. Everyone listening has lost someone or knew someone they lost or knows someone that fishes. And we got to keep bringing this back to the Bering Sea. It's reforged.org.
Yep.
If you can donate, we're trying to raise $1,200, guys. Easy. Someone can do it.
For an anvil for this program.
Reforged.org. And by the way, if we get the anvil, so that's $1,200, do not know their name.
Oh, the company gives
But
a
they
forge
donate
for
the
free.
forge
for
free.
That's a big deal.
So, yeah, it's a huge deal. And we're really shitty because we don't know the name of the company.
We'll put it in the episode notes at the bottom of the podcast.
It's an opportunity for you to contribute on a small level with 12 of your friends.
Yeah, right.
And throw in $100 and create something that is so much bigger than what we even know.
Yeah.
And
We don't know.
we don't.
I mean, you came in here, Sean, with no PTSD. Well, probably some, because PTSD is relative, right?
I produced him for a while.
I mean,
I probably gave him some problems.
Yeah, I've had some bad dreams.
he lost
but
he lost his dad. Like
I've never done half the shit that Brandon here has seen. But
PTSD comes in all levels.
it does.
You
It
are in
does.
charge of fucking people, dude. So it does come with
Somebody gets hurt on
stress.
your
That's
watch.
the thing.
It comes to be able to recognize it,
Yeah.
address it,
Yeah.
and you're coming in. You're on day 2 now of 3 of your knife, and you're feeling pretty good about it.
I
Yeah.
just farted, sorry.
Yeah.
Mark, thank you so much for having us on.
You guys, thanks.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Oh, you good?
Yeah.
Just don't forget that reforged.org is where you need to focus on if you want to spread some love to the veterans and to those who really can put some effort towards working on PTSD and what we all feel out there, all of us who are leaders and all of us who feel the stresses of those who are looking on to us to progress and to make progress and really, really feel that pressure.
It's important. 22 vets a day commit suicide, guys.
22 veterans a day.
It's important that these fucking guys know that we love them and we appreciate them and they can talk about their stuff, okay? So.
And, selfishly, we want to make that plaque for Sergeant Ian M. Tawney, 10/16/2010.
Also, watch Deadliest Catch, I guess. I don't know. All right.
www.followme.com.
All right. Thank you guys, so much.
Hey, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks for listening to Galley Stories. We hope you like what the net brought in. Please leave us a review on iTunes. Whether you like it or not, we're not fishing for compliments. Look us up on Facebook and Twitter too, and reach out to us at galleystories@gmail.com.